"I want to go to Brighton," said one of the Bennett girls in Pride and Prejudice. "We're not in Brighton, we are in Whitby, but we're in a British seaside town. And we're out on a pier. It looks gorgeous, and we're going to do some exploring." Talking of explorers, this is the town that Captain James Cook came from. And of course, he explored a little further afield and found Australia. So thanks. The quintessential British seaside town, Whitby, was our opportunity to explore this much-loved aspect of British life. Divided into two by the River Esk, we started our explorations on the Victorian side of the town, walking past the Royal Crescent, which dates back to the 19th century. Back in the late 1800s, while staying at a guest house in the Royal Crescent, Bram Stoker was inspired by the dramatic seascapes of Whitby and wrote the famous novel Dracula. There were no spooky sightings in line for us though, and we happily explored this stunning town. With the sun out, the British weather forecasters were warning of a heat wave and tops of 30 degrees, and helpfully gave tips on how to survive the day, much to our amusement. But it was easy to see why Whitby is so popular. Sparkling in the sunshine, the town was full of quaint shops, cobblestoned alleyways, and postcard-worthy views in every direction. We headed down to the water and explored the western side first, with a boardwalk down to the lighthouse and edge of the harbour. Looking across, we could see the iconic Whitby Abbey, perched atop the opposite hillside. To walk up to the Abbey involves heading up 199 steps. But given that we had been to the magnificent Fountains Abbey the day before, we decided it was enough for us to admire Whitby Abbey from a distance. After exploring the town for the day, we decided that Whitby has 5 main exports: fish and chips, ice cream, sweets, jet jewellery, and parking fines. And yes, despite our best efforts, we accidentally parked in the wrong spot and had to pay a corresponding fine. Presumably someone who didn't have to worry about paying parking fines back in the day was Captain James Cook. He was born in Yorkshire, and it was at Whitby that he was first introduced to the sea, where he joined a coal merchant. He worked hard and taught himself math and astronomy, as well as learning vital navigational skills, and eventually earned the rank of captain. In 1770, he captained the Endeavour from Plymouth to the Southern Hemisphere for the purpose of recording the transit of Venus across the Sun. It was on this voyage that he mapped the entire coastline of New Zealand and then the east coast of Australia. His ship was the HM Bark Endeavour and sailed with 94 people on board. One fun thing you can do at Whitby is sail on board a small-scale replica of the Endeavour. It's incredible to think that a group of people set off to sail halfway around the world in a wooden ship. The voyage lasted from 1768 to 1771, something that seems almost incomprehensible to me, and they left behind a great legacy. We're outside a little cottage that evidently was bombed and exploded. And they have a little information board that tells you all sorts of interesting things, like it all happened at 5 minutes past 9 o'clock. It doesn't say if it's morning or night. It was 2 battle cruisers, 25,000 pounds each. It talks about the number of shots that they fired. It talks about the people who were injured. It's the size of the shells. The only thing it doesn't say is the day or the year. That'd be good to know. Having grown up reading various books set in the Yorkshire Moors, such as the hilarious James Herriot vet stories, we agreed we couldn't miss the opportunity to visit the nearby moors. Setting off in the car, it was only a short drive before we found ourselves in the famous and vast Heather Moorlands. We've had enough of the seaside and we thought, Let's go to the North Yorkshire Moors. This is what it looks like. The purple browny stuff behind me is heather, and that's what covers the moors. Very barren, very desolate. We're going to try and explore a few of the quaint villages that are probably tucked away here. And if we find them, we'll show you for sure. As we were driving around the moors, I couldn't help but notice that there was a national centre for birds of prey, and being quite interested in birds myself, I thought it was definitely time to take the opportunity and to swing by late in the afternoon to have a look. I'm at the National Centre for Birds of Prey. I've arrived here late in the afternoon because we just kind of randomly were driving in this direction, then I saw it, so I'm a bit bird mad, so I wanted to see it. So just walking around here, there's a hawk walk. I'm going to look at Stella's sea eagle next, and then there's a bird show later this afternoon, so I'll stay for that and hopefully get some photos and maybe some video. At this late time of a very hot afternoon, the centre was quiet and it was good to go around and see the various birds. And then it was time to head off for the final bird flying exhibition that they were hosting that day.
The buzzard has overtaken them as are most numerous. Oh, you are a good girl, aren't you?
For a free bit of chicken. There are also plenty of people out there who wouldn't be interested in that sort of thing.
Good species. So the peregrine falcon, wonderful bird. They just tend to have quite a high prey drive. And so sometimes when you're flying them on demo, this means they'll go off chasing things they shouldn't be chasing, rather than focusing on the job in hand. And so the idea is by mixing them up with, oh, you little monster, landed already.
The Birds of Prey Centre focuses on rescuing birds and also education. The birds that they have on site are generally rescue birds, and they are unable to be released back into the wild for various reasons. In some cases, they have been injured and needed a lot of care and treatment to bring them back to full health, but in the process they got too used to people and it ends up being dangerous for them to be released into the wild. The reason they run multiple bird flying shows per day is that they give a number of the birds the opportunity to be out and flying on a regular basis. They've even had a wild kite join in on the show and fly with the centre's birds of prey. We learnt lots of interesting facts about these birds of prey, including the peregrine falcon. This incredible bird is the world's fastest animal, and when it dives to catch its prey, can reach speeds approaching 389 kilometers per hour or 242 miles per hour. The G-forces at this speed are terrific. For comparison, a jet fighter pilot commonly pulls 8 to 9 Gs of force, which is 8 to 9 times the force of gravity. But the peregrine falcon will reach 15 Gs of force in its descent. Having all these interesting facts shared with us while watching the birds swoop around us certainly made for an interesting classroom. And having fit in the seaside, the moors, and the birds of prey, it was finally time to head home for the day.